Excellent point. Oh, I didn't see you there. Well, today we're going to talk about the 22nd Amendment. George Washington only served 2 terms, and for a while other presidents followed this example because our founding fathers intended for our country to be a democracy and not a monarchy that we had just escaped. So this was only challenged twice with President Grant and Theodore Roosevelt, who both did try to serve a 3rd term but ran unsuccessfully.
This is what we wanted to avoid.
You elected me to 3 terms. I am now your king. Obey me, peasant.
Yes, my liege.
The purpose of the amendment was to prevent a president from becoming a tyrant. Roosevelt served 4 terms because he was presiding over the nation in a time of war and didn't want the nation to go through multiple transitions of power while we were in an overseas conflict. Although this was not a bad thing, it was unheard of at the time and wanted to be prevented in the future so that power would not be abused. All right, there's the 22nd Amendment. Look good?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
All right. Sent. The 22nd Amendment was proposed to Congress in 1947 and was ratified by the 48 states in 1951. Of all these states, only 2 rejected and 5 did not act.
Signed.
The 22nd Amendment prevents a president from being elected to more than 2 terms. They can serve a maximum of 10 years if they are the vice president under another president, and if they are out of office, they can serve no more than 2 years and still be elected to president later on. The amendment was ratified under President Truman. It's not likely that in the future another president will try to make an amendment to repeal this. However, President Reagan and Eisenhower both were somewhat against it, though they probably wouldn't have run for another term. It is unlikely that we will see any attempt to repeal the amendment in the future, whether we like it or not, with the current administration and any to come.
Excuse me?
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
So, I noticed that you're reading a magazine on the president, and I was wondering if you knew how the 22nd Amendment had changed American culture.
Well, before this amendment was ratified, the previous presidents could remain in power for as long as they could. And due to FDR's 4 terms, Congress passed this amendment on March 21st, 1947, during Truman's 1st term, in order to prevent him and the following presidents to become like FDR in retaining power for more than 2 terms.
So if the 22nd Amendment wasn't passed, how would we differ today?
If the 22nd Amendment wasn't ratified, the presidents could remain in power for as long as they can and possibly turn into an authoritarian ruler, which could result into a dystopian society. Now that I think about it, if I could, how would I change the 22nd Amendment?
Well, I'd say you should keep it exactly the same because the 2-term presidency was set originally by President George Washington, who only served 2 terms and could not serve a 3rd term due to his age. But as a result of him only serving 2 terms, it set a precedent in which the following presidents would only serve 2 terms. This is seen in President Trump and President Obama's administration as, because of the 22nd Amendment, they could only serve 2 terms max. Like President Trump, he has favorable status in government, just like FDR, and as such, he could have served for more than 2 terms. And President Obama, the people advocated for him to serve a 3rd term, just this election. But as a result of the 22nd Amendment, they could only serve 2 terms each.